When I first started in photography over 15 years ago, I never thought I would become a portrait photographer because I was very overwhelmed by photography already, and I was thinking that portrait photography was very hard because there are so many things involved into portrait photography. I think there are other niches much easier than taking portraits, and that's the reason why I wanted to make today's video, because I'm gonna line up everything super simple for you to be able to take portrait photos that look actually professional. I'm gonna talk about the camera, I'm gonna talk about the lenses, I'm gonna talk about settings without making you feel overwhelmed. And also, I'm gonna talk about portrait editing. This was my worst nightmare because editing software is very expensive and editing portraits, it's incredibly hard. And I'm going to start talking about the camera. So many of you ask me, Laura, which camera do I need? Do I need like a very expensive camera? You don't. I'm the kind of person who is going to tell you gear matters. And whoever is going to tell you it doesn't matter, it freaking does, okay? So what I'm going to tell you is gear doesn't matter in terms of making money. You can make money with any camera, even with your phone. But gear matters because you're going to see a massive improvement when you upgrade your gear, because I've been there myself. So I started with a Canon 30D, 8 megapixels, and I started making money with it, okay? So yes, gear matters, but it doesn't matter which one you have, because nowadays, if you own a mirrorless or a DSLR, it doesn't matter the freaking brand. This is not a battle between brands. I use Sony right now, but I was using Canon for 14 years. Canon is incredible, Sony is incredible, Fuji, Nikon, they are all good enough, okay? What matters most, it's the lens you choose, and a good photographer knows this. The lens you put in your camera, it's more important than the camera itself. So I'm going to start talking about lenses, and I want you to take notes. After 15 years, there are so many things I want to tell you. If you are in a budget, I'm just gonna say this, there are two options, and there is one favorite option I have, and it's a very unpopular opinion, but I don't care because I stand by it. It's owning a versatile lens. Many people are going to tell you to get a prime lens for portrait photography, and I'm gonna tell you that in a bit as well, my opinion about it. But when I started in photography, I was working with a kit lens, a 1585 from Canon. It was a very average lens, it had chromatic aberration, it wasn't the best of the best, but I was making money with that lens. I was shooting portrait photography, I was shooting landscape, I was shooting sports photography, I was shooting everything, even fashion editorial campaigns in London. And guess what? It did the job. And it was very versatile because if you are a beginner, even if you are very clear about what you want and clear about portrait photography, I think having a zoom lens helps a lot because you're going to be able to experiment with wide angle portraits, close-ups, and you're going to be able to shoot as well within other niches. And on my channel, I always encourage you to try other niches. Everyone is going to tell you to niche down. I highly encourage you to follow your path as a portrait photographer, but try other things, because I started taking surf photos and I didn't want to try anything else. And now I do portrait. So it's always good to experiment, and a versatile lens is going to give you that. So my favorite one is the 24-70 G Master 2. It's freaking expensive. You don't need that one at the beginning. So I highly encourage you to maybe check the 24-105. 24-105, it's one of my favorite versatile lenses. You can shoot anything you want with a 24-105. This is all you need if you want a versatile lens to shoot everything. But if you want to shoot portrait and you are very focused on shooting portrait and you want to save money as well, because this one, it's not expensive, but it's still expensive, I highly encourage you, and other photographers are going to tell you this as well, to grab a 50mm lens, f1.8. This lens is dirty cheap. It doesn't matter the brand, and you are going to take amazing portraits with it because it's f1.8, so you're gonna get the creamy background, you don't break the bank, and 50mm, it's the right compression for portraits. It's not bad at all, okay? So the 50 is the budget friendly, the 24-105 or 24-70, the versatile one. But another prime I love, and I have it here, this is from Sigma, it's one of my favorite lenses, it's the 35mm f1.4. So you have to know exactly what you want. I shot entire photo shoots in London using just this lens. Portrait photography, I mean. And it's very good because with 35mm, you include a bit more of the environment when you are shooting portraits. It's not incredible for close-ups, but it's very good to include the environment in that portrait, and sometimes you tell more of a story with it. So this one is one of my favorite ones, and f1.4, It's super creamy. And then the best of the best focal ranges, let's say, for portrait photography, everyone is going to tell you this as well, is the 85 millimeters. 85 millimeters, the compression in the face, it's so natural. Everyone looks very flattering with an 85 millimeters focal range. And this one is f1.4. This one is from Viltrox. I have an entire review on my channel about this lens because Viltrox is an affordable brand. And this one, for being a prime lens, f1.4, it's incredibly cheap and the quality, it's insane. So if you want a cheap 85 millimeters f1.4, I've been using this one for a while and I really love it. So I would say 35 millimeters, 50 or 85. I do have a 105 millimeters from Sigma. I don't recommend you that one because it's freaking expensive. It was for me like a gift for myself. I sold my car to be able to buy that lens and the Canon 5D Mark IV by then. So imagine, it's very expensive. You don't need it. It's very big as well. It's my favorite portrait lens, I have to say, but you cannot travel with it much because it's freaking heavy. So I highly recommend you an 85, 50 you are on a budget, 35 if you are more into street photography, and a versatile one if you prefer to do, like all kind of shots. If you have any questions, please comment below because I know it's very hard to take all in, but I'm just trying to give you the possibilities depending on your budget, how versatile you want to be, or how pro you want to be. Because if you want to take like very pro portraits and get this blurriness in the background all the time, 85, it's incredible. I'm gonna talk now about settings. Most of the times, I think 85% of the times, I shoot manual. I like to control all the settings, but this is a portrait photography 101 video, so I don't want to overwhelm you with settings. You can perfectly switch your camera to aperture priority, and this way the camera is going to respect the aperture you select and it's going to take care of the rest and you don't have to do anything else. In your camera, when you select aperture priority, it's going to say AV or A. Actually, here in Sony, it says A only. So that's aperture priority, and you can select from 1.4 or 2.8, and you are going to get a creamy background while the camera selects the ISO and the shutter speed. I prefer manual, but the easy mode, let's say, to start learning, it's this one, if you want to try it out. And another thing I have to say, I don't know if nowadays I have to say it or not, but I'm going to say it just in case, shoot RAW. I don't want you to shoot JPEG unless you are shooting with a Fujifilm, because Fujifilm, they are very famous for their own recipes, let's say. So you shoot JPEG and it comes out with a beautiful color grading and everything. And it's nice, it's a way to experiment. But if you are shooting professional portraits, shoot RAW, because you're going to be able to manipulate the image a lot in editing. And we're gonna go into that in a second. And what about getting the shot, you will ask? I was terrified about this because I was like, oh my God, I had to learn how to lead my models. I had to learn how to frame, how to focus. I found this very difficult. And as I told you before, I never thought I would get into it, and now I love it. And the more you do it, you are going to improve. So please don't be scared about this. I had to tell you, like, yes, you have to care about your lens and camera settings, but there is something even more important than that. I would say 70% important. Would be lighting. If you want a soft light, which is very flattering on your model's face, sunrise lighting, golden hour, and blue hour. Because if you are shooting in the middle of the day, you're going to have, like we all call it, raccoon eyes. The sun is going to be on top of your model, so it's going to create shadows everywhere, and it's not flattering at all, and you're going to be frustrated, and your model is going to look terrible. So choose the time of the day wisely when you are shooting portraits, and if you are shooting in the middle of the day, just make sure your model lifts the face, or you are shooting in the shadow. But the time of the day really matters, and that's the reason why I wake up many times at 4 in the morning to go to certain locations in Bali when I have shootings, because you really have to play with lighting. This is super important. And the other thing I will tell you about getting the shot right, it's that backgrounds are incredibly important. I do face-to-face mentorships, and when I review your portfolios, the first thing I notice is that the photo, it's very messy. Why? Because I see the subject, but then the background, it's very messy. There are too many things going on in the photo. Make sure your backgrounds are very clean, or what works very well, it's shooting at a very wide aperture, so your background is very creamy. And the separation between the subject and the background, it's very obvious. and this is going to look amazing. And there is another mistake I see many people doing, and you tell me, Laura, why, if I'm shooting at 1.4, for instance, I don't see blurriness in my background? It's because you don't put enough separation between the subject and the background. If the background is here, the model is here, it's going to be quite focused, the background as well. Create separation, and it's when the background appears blurry. This is such a beginner mistake because I did it as well. We've been all there. So make sure you always use this to be able to create that beautiful bokeh we all want in the portraits, because that's what makes them look pro as well. An extra tip I will give you as well here, I can do an entire video about this. I think it deserves a whole video. Comment below if you want it. But I'm gonna tell you a tip. Give your models something to do and talk to them, because otherwise they're going to appear super nervous and super stiff. Don't tell them to smile, please. This is not the right way to pose someone. Ask them to do something. I shoot a lot with music artists. They are not models. They don't know how to pose. And every time I tell them, move in the spot, locate your hoodie, move around, it's the best shot. I don't like static shots and that kind of poses. And they're going to feel as well much more comfortable when you give them something to do, because they're gonna be moving around and it's more natural than being stiff doing this pose. It's not gonna work. I can do an entire video about posing, comment below, but I think that tip is quite big and it's going to help you a lot. And the next thing I want to cover, and this is a pain in the ass for everyone. I was already a professional photographer when I started editing portraits, and it was still a pain in the ass for me. Like, I was with Photoshop, retouching skin. For me, it was a freaking nightmare. I hated it because I was taking so long to edit, and you cannot take too long to edit if you want to make money. And it was very hard. Also, Adobe, it's very expensive. I do pay for it. But as a beginner, when you start paying a subscription, it's a bit, too much. So maybe you want to start with something different and you want a super complete software that is incredible for portrait photography. And I'm going to show you now why. You are going to see how powerful it is. There is a software I've been recommending on my channel since I started my channel with 0 subscribers. And that software is Luminar Neo. By then, I think it was like Luminar 4 or something like that. Now it's Luminar Neo and it's much more powerful than before. It's a non-subscription software. You pay once and you own it. It's literally 6 months of Adobe. You own the software. And it works as a standalone software and as a plugin for Adobe. This is how I use it because I still love Adobe and I use it as a plugin. And I'm gonna show you how because you're going to be blown away. So this is one of my latest photo shoots here in Bali. This is already edited with my Lightroom presets, by the way, if you want to check them out. But I'm gonna show you the skin because this is what I want to show you. Many people are overwhelmed, me included, about editing portrait photos when we start because it's overwhelming. I'm going to show you how easy it is. I'm gonna go to the edit tab. You have presets as well. I have more reviews of Luminar on my channel if you want to check them out. So I'm gonna go to my favorite part because literally when I bought Luminar by then, years ago, it was just for the face and skin tools, okay? So you go down here in portrait and you have all these options. And now there is a new update. This is something I love about Luminar Neo. They keep improving the software and I love that. And now they improved it like crazy for portrait photographers. So if you go to face, I'm gonna zoom in here. You can see here like a few wrinkles. This is very important. Don't over edit portrait photos unless the client asks you so. She didn't ask me, so I just edited the minimum things, okay? But I want to show you how it works, just a bit, but then I'm gonna put one of my photos because her skin is actually amazing, so you're not gonna see too much, the effect. But I'm gonna show you later one of my portraits. Unfortunately, I have many skin marks, and you're going to see how it works. But I'm gonna go to face. This is the face light tool. Look at this. More and less. You don't have to mask anything anymore with Luminar Neo. So you can give light here, but then you have masking as well if you want to control even more everything. And if you go down here, this is something I use a lot. Retouching skin is super simple. You have these sliders here, they work with AI. So if you go to face smoothing, I'm gonna overdo it, I'm gonna put 100. Look at the before and look at the after. Like, it's super natural and very gentle and it preserves the details. I don't want to see wax dolls. This is a beginner mistake. Many people over-edit skin and it's so artificial. So that's why I love this tool in Luminar Neo, because it's very natural. You can smooth as well the body, skin, and there is a tool here that is one of my favorite ones because I do a lot of studio photography and you get shiny skin. I never found any software that does better this than Luminar Neo, which is the shine removal. Look at her forehead. I'm gonna overdo it. This is the before and the after. It removes the shine parts of the skin. And this is very good because I try in another ways in Lightroom with highlights, reducing highlights. It doesn't work that way. Luminar Neo preserves the skin and I love this. And then there is blemish removal, but it doesn't have any. So I'm going to show you one of my portraits and you're going to be blown away because you don't have to clone anymore. So this is a photo shoot I did. If you didn't watch it, you can watch it on my channel. I did a flash photography challenge at home here in Bali and I was using a $36 flash during the whole photo shoot. So these are some of the photos. You can check them out later if you like in that video. But look at my skin. It's terrible. I have so many skin marks. That's why I'm a very good example for Luminar Neo in this situation. This is already edited, the color grading and everything, but then what I do using it as a plugin is right-click in the photo, edit in Luminar Neo. I'm gonna zoom in. You're gonna be like, okay, it's so easy to edit portrait photography now. I'm gonna go to the skin section. Check out my blemishes here. Blemish removal, 100%. Look at that. Before, after. I'm gonna do the slider, I love this tool. Look at my skin. And it preserves all the details of my skin apart of the imperfections, which is insane. So I'm gonna apply this, I'm gonna leave it like it is in 100, and then I'm gonna go to shine removal. I was shooting with flash and this creates shiny parts in the skin. So I'm gonna rise this. It removed the harsh shiny parts of the skin and the blemishes. And then you can smooth the skin a little bit as well. Don't overdo it, please. But I'm gonna leave it in 45. And you're going to see here the before and the after. And I took seconds doing this. When I started portrait photography many years ago, like I didn't have this tool. You had to do this kind of frequency separation in Photoshop. Maybe you don't even know what it is. I didn't know by then. You had to do so many layers, painting the skin. It was terrible. And now this is super simple. And you have many other things as well. And you can do the same with the body skin. Body smoothing. Look at my chest. Before, I have marks there as well because of the sun, and the after. It's insane, seriously. And this tool is new as well in Luminar Neo. It's the new update. As a portrait photographer, you can see that Luminar Neo is incredible. And you're going to have a link below with a discount code of a 10%. So apart from being the most affordable software out there, you're going to have it even cheaper, so make sure to check it out. Something else I have to tell you quickly, you have an app for the phone and you can carry on your edits there. It's synchronized. So whatever you edit in the desktop, you are going to have it in your phone as well. To wrap this video up, I will say, whichever camera you have, that's totally fine. Focus on the lens. If you're in a budget, a 50mm f1.8 is going to be the cheapest. If you want something versatile, take a 24-105 or 24-70 if you want to experiment within other niches. And if you want to go pro from the very beginning, maybe get an 85mm, okay? Shoot in aperture priority if you still feel a bit lost with manual. Chase the light, always soft lighting for those portraits. Keep your editing natural, and if you struggle with portrait editing, Luminar Neo is a very good option as a portrait photographer, and that's all you need to take portraits. This is obviously the very simple guide. There is much more into it, but I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, and I think this roadmap is going to set you in the right path. Comment below if you want me to do more videos about this, because I live in Bali and I can do portrait photo shoots to teach you further. And please make sure you subscribe to my channel if you didn't yet, and I will see you in the next one. Big love from Bali.